right. This question comes from Theo in Baltimore, and Theo says, how do you plan on connecting with people all across the state whose daily lives look really different depending on what unique region they live in, independent from the area's political leanings, from Southern Maryland to Baltimore City to the Appalachians to the Eastern Shore? I think this is a great question. And it's a question that we get a lot. And I get it a lot because I have spent the last couple of years traveling to all those places that Theo mentions in that question. And I think one of the things that I really realize is that there are a couple of things that unite people across the state. And that things like energy, things like cost of living, things like transit, those unite people across the state. Other things that I think are really pressing for a lot of people are the degree to which Annapolis Democrats are trying to exert control over everywhere in the state. So it's fine if you're in one of the blue counties or the suburban or urban counties that are in the core, because you have a lot of times representation in Annapolis. But everything that is outside of that, really, I think there's a lot of people in those places who feel ignored, neglected, and run roughshod over. So I think, part of the answer for me to this question is we're going to go to those places. We're going to talk to people. We're going to understand their interests, and we're going to listen and make sure that we're connecting on the issues that are important to them. The other thing is, I think we need to adopt policy positions that return decision-making to the counties. I think too often Maryland Democrats get upset that the red counties aren't agreeing with them. So they make policies that take away the decision-making power of people in counties and localities. Now, look, I'm not saying that those folks should be able to violate civil rights law or pollute at will or things like that. But we need to have some balance of power and not turn to preemption of local authority every time we don't like the decisions that people on the ground are making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, Theo, thank you for this question. And thank you for your support of the campaign and your support of the Green Party over the long haul. You're a great member of our community. Appreciate you. And I think, Andy, you spoke to it, but I've been out on the Eastern Shore twice last month. I'll be out in Western Maryland early next month. And one of the conversations I had with someone in Centerville, shout out to Centerville, was prove kind of along the lines of prove to me you're not a Democrat in disguise, right? That was the framing of the conversation. And Andy, what you were just saying about returning some decision-making power to counties and to folks in their local communities is that, that green key value of decentralization. And I think decentralization is something that sets us apart from progressives, from big government Democrats. We believe that the people closest to the problem are also the ones who are going to come up with the solution and should be empowered to do so. And that is the same for someone living in East Baltimore as someone living in Centerville or Cumberland. And so I think that decentralization is part of the answer. Also cutting across traditional party affiliations, which have become quite tribal in some ways, and talking about people's values, talking about the impact that policies have on their lives from a policies standpoint first, rather than are you blue or are you red standpoint. Once we can get past that political binary and talk about, the price of electricity is really hurting all of us, whether you live in Baltimore or Frederick or Charles County, that is what is going to help us connect with people all across the state whose lives may look different in some ways, but who are members of a working class who is being harmed by, a General Assembly members and the governor who are more accountable to donors who can cut $6,000 checks than to people who show up and vote for them.
Yeah, absolutely.